You may be wondering, what is dyslexia? Could my child be dyslexic? Let's start with the definition. Dyslexia is a brain-based learning difference, which results in an unexpected difficulty in reading, meaning a child is doing pretty well in other subjects and other ways of learning, but for some reason, reading is difficult and nobody knows why. When we think about dyslexia, we know that it's a brain-based issue. It's not a try harder issue or a sit still longer issue. It's not a behavior issue. It has to do with how the brain is firing. Look at this picture of a brain. The non-dyslexic brain is firing so much more than that of the dyslexic brain. The work we do to help children with dyslexia helps to get their brain firing as well. Dyslexia is a language-based issue. It's not based around a vision problem. People may have a vision problem who are dyslexic, but fixing a vision problem does not fix the dyslexia. Dyslexia is also genetic. It occurs in families. Grandma can be dyslexic, maybe dad, and maybe several of the children are dyslexic. Dyslexia can be common. Up to 1 in 5 children can have dyslexia. The characteristics of dyslexia are wide and varied. A few of them are listed here.
Some that are very common are a difficulty remembering the sounds of the letters, particularly the short vowel sounds. So even if your child knows all the letters of the alphabet and all their sounds, do they know the sounds of the vowels? And when they're able to sound out a word, can they blend those sounds together to hear the word? Or do they struggle perhaps with remembering patterns in words? That's a little harder to see, but is very common with dyslexic children. They need to be taught those explicitly and have enough practice with them that it activates the brain and develops the neural pathways necessary for reading. Dyslexic children often struggle with breaking words apart into their sounds. This is vitally important for spelling. Otherwise, they're just memorizing one word at a time. And sometimes dyslexic children will struggle to remember words they've just read. They'll see a word on one page and they'll sound it out and read it. And maybe even a few seconds later, they see the exact same word and it's as if they've never seen it before. That's not a behavior issue. It's not a focus issue. It's not a try harder issue. It's not a sit still and do it longer issue. There are other issues at play that need to be addressed to help that child. You can see that there are many, many characteristics of a person with dyslexia. And while this one lists the things that are difficulties, there's also many positive characteristics of a person with dyslexia. And it's helpful to share those with children. But if you have a little one in your life who loses track of time, can't tell time on an analog clock, mixes up directions or left and right, maybe they're really good in math but struggling to learn those math facts. Or as a child who loves to write but really doesn't like to do it with a pencil and paper. Their handwriting may be poor. As also a child who seems to have a lot of anxiety, particularly around reading. So those children sometimes have behavioral changes as they learn how to read. And as their anxiety goes down and their confidence goes up, that their acting out is reduced. So if you think you might have a child who's dyslexic, what are you going to do? I highly recommend that you reach out to Facebook groups that have parents on them. Parents who've walked this road before you are the ones who can provide you with the most help and support and hold your hand at every step along the way. You can also reach out to a school counselor to request testing. In fact, you can insist upon it. In many places, it's required by law. And you can look for a professional who can provide a comprehensive evaluation, a neuropsychologist. You can ask your primary care provider for a referral. Also, you can jump on YouTube and Google the science of reading or look for videos about the science of reading and educate yourself, because an educated parent is the best advocate for the child. And there are many different practical strategies. The Brain Friendly Reading program has many YouTube videos to teach parents how to tap the charts in particular It's a simple instructional strategy with a video that guides you through that you can start using today to build that foundation between the sound-symbol connection that's vitally important for children to have at their ready disposal. The best piece of advice that I can give you is that if your gut says that something is amiss, that your child is struggling with reading and your best strategies aren't working and the best strategies of the schools aren't working and your child is becoming increasingly frustrated and discouraged and feeling hopeless or helpless, get help. Don't wait. Time is not your friend. Your child will not mature out of a reading difficulty. More time for them to grow up and be ready for reading is not going to help them. Educate yourself and become your child's best advocate so that you can help them to become successful. It's possible. We have the science behind us that tells us what we need to do to make it happen. And there are free and reduced resources readily available to you to be able to do that.